that when they killed the buffalo they should cut up the flesh with these stone knives. One day after this, some people went on a little hill to look about, and the buffalo saw them and called out to each other, "Ah, there is some more of our food," and rushed upon them. The people did not run. They began to shoot at the buffalo with the bows and arrows that had been given them, and the buffalo began to fall. They say that when the first buffalo, hit with an arrow, felt it prick him, he called out to his fellows, "Oh, my friends, a great fly is biting me." With the flint knives that had been given them, they cut up the bodies of the dead buffalo. About this time Old Man came up and said to them, "It is not healthful to eat raw flesh. I will show you something better than that." He gathered soft, dry, rotten wood, and made punk of it, and took a piece of wood and drilled a hole in it with an arrow point, and gave them a pointed piece of hardwood, and showed them how to make a fire with fire sticks, and to cook the flesh of animals. After this the people found a certain sort of stone in the land, and took another harder stone, and worked one upon the other, and hollowed out the softer one, so as to make of it a kettle. It is also told that the Creator made people and animals at another place, and in another way. At the Porcupine Mountains he made other earthen images of people, and blew breath on the images, and they became people. They were men and women. After a time they asked him, "What are we to eat?" Then he took more earth and made many images in the form of buffalo, and when he had blown on them they stood up, and he made signs to them, and they started to run. He said to the people, "There is your food." "Well now," they replied, "we have those animals. How are we to kill them?" "I will show you." He took them to the edge of a cliff and showed them how to heap a pile of stone, running back from the cliff like this, with the point of the V toward the cliff. He said to the people, "Now do you hide behind these piles of stone, and when I lead the buffalo this way, as they get opposite to you, stand up." Then he went on toward a herd of buffalo and began to call them, and the buffalo started toward him and followed him, until they were inside the arms of the V. Then he ran to one side and hid, and as the people rose up the buffalo ran on in a straight line and jumped over the cliff, and some of them were killed by the fall. "There," he said, "go and take the flesh of those animals." Then the people tried to do so. They tried to tear the limbs apart, but they could not. They tried to bite pieces out of the bodies, but they could not do that. Old Man went to the edge of the cliff and broke some pieces of stone with sharp edges, and showed them how to cut the flesh with these. Of the buffalo that went over the cliff, some were not dead but were hurt, so they could not run away. The people cut strips of green hide and tied stones in the middle, and with these hammers broke in the skulls of the buffalo and killed them. When they had taken the skins from these animals, they set up poles and put up the hides over them, and so made a shelter to sleep under. In later times the Creator marked off a piece of land for the 5 tribes, Blackfeet, Bloods, Piegans, Gros, Ventres, and Sarsis, and said to these tribes, "When people come to cross this line at the border of your land, take your bows and arrows, your lances and your war clubs, and give them battle, and keep them out. If they gain a footing here, trouble for you will follow." End of chapter 15.